The floor 11 camera cut out at exactly 2:17 a.m. Every single night, 30 seconds of black, then back to an empty corridor. Nobody told me why. I stopped asking, but the night the camera didn't come back, the night it just stayed black, I watched the elevator indicator above my desk light at floor 11, going down. It didn't stop until it reached mine. The job was simple. 18-floor office building, third shift, 10 at night until 6 in the morning. Most of it was sitting in a small security room on the second floor watching camera feeds. The room smelled like old carpet and recycled air. A single overhead light that buzzed when it got too cold. A folding chair I padded with my jacket by the third week. Coffee from a machine down the hall that tasted like nothing but was hot. Floors 2 through 7 were occupied. Accounting firms, a legal office, a tech company that used 2 whole floors. They all cleared out by 7. After that, the building was mine. Quiet the way only a big empty building quiet. Not peaceful, just hollow. Every footstep in the stairwell carried. The elevator cable hung. The HVAC system kicked on at the top of every hour with a low metallic groan. Floors 8 through 18 had been dark for years. The company that used to lease the upper floors moved out in the mid-2010s and nothing came in after. Management said the layout wasn't worth renovating. Whatever the reason, everything above 7 was locked, unlit, and officially off my rounds. I did floors 2 through 7 on my walk at midnight and 4. That was it. The upper floors didn't exist as far as my job description was concerned. The security room had a wall of monitors, 12 in total. Lobby, parking structure, stairwells, elevator interior, and 1 hallway camera per floor from 1 through 7. The floors above 7 had cameras too, older ones that the system had never removed. Floor 8 through 18 each showed a dark corridor on a 30-second rotation. Usually nothing, just black hallways cycling through on the screen one after another. I noticed the floor 11 camera on my second night, not because anything was wrong, just because it was the one that never looked fully dark. The emergency lighting on that floor was slightly brighter than the others. You could see the shape of the hallway clearly. Drop ceiling, linoleum floor near the elevator bank, a strip of dark industrial carpet running from the elevator doors toward the far stairwell. 2 rows of office doors on each side, all closed. The first time the feed dropped, I was halfway through a sandwich. The screen went to static for a few seconds, then black, then came back clean. I noted it in the log, called facilities, left a voicemail. Nobody called back. The second night, same time, same thing. I logged it again. By the end of my first week, I'd stopped writing it down. By the end of my second, I'd stopped noticing. 2:17, 30 seconds. Back to the empty corridor. Just the building doing what old buildings do. I was 6 weeks in when I started watching those 30 seconds more careful. Not because anything had changed. I just had too much time and not enough going on at 2 a.m. I started rewinding the footage right after the feed came back, playing the edge of the blackout frame by frame, looking at what the corridor showed in the last second before the drop, and what it showed in the first second after. For 5 nights it was nothing. On the 6th night, it was the carpet. The strip of carpet ran from the elevator doors to the far stairwell, maybe 60 feet. Dark industrial gray, the kind that holds impressions. I'd looked at it dozens of times without thinking about it, but that night when the feed came back, something was different. The carpet near the elevator end looked flattened, not dramatically, just compressed in a path, the way it looks after someone walks across it and the fibers haven't fully lifted back. I rewound it 3 times. Watched the last frame before the blackout, carpet even and undisturbed. Watched the first frame after, subtle, but there. A trail pressed into the pile, starting at the elevator doors and moving toward the stairwell. 12, maybe 15 footsteps worth of weight. I sat with it for a long time. Then I told myself, old building, settling floors, air pressure from the HVAC. I wrote nothing in the log. I went home at 6, slept, came back. The next night the carpet was clean. I watched it every night after that. Most nights, clean, but twice in the following 2 weeks. Both times right after the feed came back at 2:07, the trail was there. Same direction, elevator to stairwell. Same impression depth, same pattern. On a Thursday, during my 4 a.m. floor walk, I took the stairwell up to 11. The door opened from the stairwell side without a key. I pushed it and stood in the doorway for a moment. The corridor looked exactly like the camera showed it. Long, low-lit, a carpet running ahead of me. I called out. My voice went flat against the drop ceiling. I walked the length of the hallway slowly, trying each office door as I went. All of them locked. At the far end, the emergency stairwell door on the opposite side had a gap at the bottom. Cold air pushed through it. I crouched and looked at the floor in front of it. Scuff marks in the dust. Recent, the layer of grime that coated everything else on this floor hadn't settled back over them yet. I stood up and looked back down the corridor. Empty. My own footprints in the dust were the only clear impressions. Everything else had been disturbed just enough to notice, not enough to read clearly. I went back downstairs and said nothing to... The following week I started timing the camera drop more precisely. I kept a separate notebook, not the official log, just my own. Date, time the feed dropped, time it came back, carpet condition after. 8 entries across 2 weeks. 5 times the carpet was clean. 3 times it showed impressions. On those 3 nights, I went back through the other floor feeds frame by frame looking for anything. A shadow in a stairwell, an elevator indicator, a door that looked different. Nothing. Whatever was happening on 11 stayed on 11. Then a Monday night, week 9, the feed dropped at 2:17 and didn't come back. I watched the blank square on the monitor. 30 seconds. A minute. 2. I picked up the facilities line, got the overnight answering service, left a message. Hung up and kept watching. The feed stayed black. At 2:24 I glanced at the elevator indicator panel above my desk. I'd never paid much attention to it, just a small digital display showing which floor the car was on. It read 11, then it changed. I pushed back from the desk. 9, 8, 7, I stood up. 6, 5, 4, I walked to the door of the security room. 3, I put my hand on the door handle. 2, the elevator was on my floor. I heard the cable system slow, the mechanical thunk of the car stopping, then the soft single tone that played every time the doors opened. I didn't move. The corridor outside the security room was maybe 50 feet from the elevator bank. I could see the edge of the hallway through the small window in the security room door. The light out there didn't change. No shadow, no sound of footsteps, nothing. I counted 43 seconds. Then the tone again. Doors closing. The indicator showed the car sitting at 2 for another full minute. Then it moved, not back to 11, up to 14, where it sat, unmoving, for the rest of my shift. I didn't open the security room door that night. I sat in the folding chair with my back against the wall and watched the blank square where floor 11 should have been until 6 a.m. At some point around 4:30 I realized I hadn't done my floor walk. I logged it as completed. The next morning I requested the elevator service log from facilities. The building engineer pulled it that afternoon and sent me an email. According to their system, the elevator had shown no activity after midnight. No calls registered, no trips recorded, no door openings after 11:58 p.m. on any of the nights I had mentioned. The car had been sitting at lobby level all night. I printed the email and put it next to my personal notebook. 8 entries in my handwriting, dates, times, elevator movement I'd watched with my own eyes. Their log, nothing, no record of any. I went back to work the next night. The camera cut out at 2:17, came back at 2 hours, 17 minutes and 34 seconds. I didn't look at the carpet. I didn't look at the elevator. I opened a book and read until 6. I gave 3 more weeks before I handed in my notice. No dramatic reason. I just stopped being able to sit in that room. Not from fear exactly, more from the feeling that I was being let in on something I wasn't supposed to understand, and that looking directly at it had been a mistake. My last shift was a Friday. I did the walk at midnight, floors 2 through 7, same as always. Signed the log, made the bad coffee, sat in a chair. At 2:17 the floor 11 feed dropped and I looked at the wall until it came back. Clean corridor. I didn't rewind. At 4 o'clock I did the second walk. Coming back down the stairwell to 2, I passed the elevator bank in the lobby. The doors were closed. The indicator above them read 14. I stood there for a moment. I'd come down from the stairwell. I hadn't called the elevator. Nobody else was in the building. I'd been alone since 10. The lobby was empty. The front desk dark. The elevator had been on 14 since 2:30 a.m. and hadn't moved. I left without going back to the security room for my bag. I came back for it in the morning when the day staff arrived. The facilities team went up to 11 2 days later after I filed a written report. They found nothing unusual. Floors clean. No signs of entry. All doors secured. They checked the elevator mechanical system and found no malfunctions. No explanation for the indicator reading I'd logged on the night the feed stayed dark. They said the panel sometimes showed ghost readings after power fluctuations. They said this like it settled something. It didn't. What stays with me isn't the elevator or the carpet or the blank monitor. It's the 43 seconds. The doors open on my floor in the middle of the night, with me 10 feet away behind a closed door. 43 seconds of silence. No footsteps. Nothing entering, nothing leaving, just the doors standing open in an empty corridor, and something, or someone, deciding not to come in. I don't know what that decision meant. I don't know what would have happened if I'd opened the door and looked. I think about that more than I probably should, especially late at night, especially when I'm alone in a building and I hear an elevator.